Muy buenas tardes a todos y bienvenidos a nuestro webinario del día de hoy, 22 de octubre. Mi nombre es Bruno Perón, soy el presidente y fundador de Class Education, la agencia canadiense ubicada en México que les lleva este contenido cada semana. Estoy muy emocionado porque hoy tenemos un invitado especial que se llama BCIT. En un momento les quiero presentar los invitados del día de hoy. Pero antes de iniciar, quiero recordarles que el webinar, nuestro webinario, como siempre es costumbre, son grabados y estamos también en vivo, es decir, en Facebook Live, estamos en YouTube, estamos en Twitter. Y lo bueno con eso es que tenemos un equipo de clase en cada plataforma que está al pendiente para contestar a sus preguntas o inquietudes durante el webinario. Y las preguntas más relevantes o más importantes las vamos a tomar un poquito más adelante en el webinario para el beneficio de cada uno de ustedes. Por los que no nos conocen, les quiero comentar que Class Education somos una agencia canadiense ubicado en México ya desde más de 26 años. Tenemos a la fecha enviado más de 10,000 alumnos mexicanos a estudiar a Canadá. Entonces, digamos que tenemos muchísima experiencia, un gran equipo para apoyarlos en sentido de ubicar la institución correcta para ustedes, el programa correcto hacia todo el proceso de registros para ustedes, los visados. Estamos aquí para realmente hacer este viaje, esta experiencia más fácil, aprovechar más los tiempos y los dineritos también y hacer que este proyecto sea una buena experiencia y que encuentren lo que están buscando en estudiar en el extranjero, en este caso en Canadá. Tenemos oficinas a lo largo del país en México y también en Canadá, donde yo me encuentro en ese momento en la ciudad de Vancouver, donde está nuestro invitado del día de hoy. Entonces, aquí en la pantalla pueden ver los diferentes servicios que ofrecemos: consultoría educativa, los trámites de visado, como decía hace ratito, coordinación de viaje, recepción en el aeropuerto, seguro médico, e inclusive con el alojamiento también. Entonces, realmente es un servicio llave en mano, o como decimos en inglés, all inclusive, donde en un solo lugar encontrarán todas las soluciones a los servicios que uno necesita para ir a estudiar en el extranjero. Bueno, entonces eso es un poco de información sobre quiénes somos, pero vamos entrando en materia. El día de hoy tengo el gusto y el honor de compartir este webinario con una institución que me agrada mucho, que respeto y que aprecio mucho, que se llama BCIT. BCIT es una institución que se encuentra aquí en Vancouver, y conmigo en la llamada tengo el señor Michael Galley. Michael es el gerente de reclutamiento internacional y de admisión. Michael, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, Bruno. Thank you.
Very nice to have you. Very nice to have you here with us. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having us.
También en la llamada tengo a Sara Landon. Sara es recruiting specialist. No sé cómo se dice en español, pero bueno, vamos a empezar a hablar en inglés porque de hoy adelante vamos a pasar la palabra a nuestros invitados y vamos a hablar en inglés. So, ladies and gentlemen, very nice to see you again. Thank you for sharing this space with us, and thank you for making some time to talk about BCIT, an institution, as I was saying in the introduction, that I admire and respect greatly, a very prestigious institution here in Vancouver and throughout Canada and throughout the world. I think it's BCIT has made quite a name for itself in the workplace, in the education world, and also for international students. So we're very, very happy to have you with us. It's the second time we do a webinar with BCIT. We did one with Sarah. I was maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I think, Sarah?
Yeah, I think right? 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah, you were somewhere in the forest somewhere. It looked lovely where you were. And it was very successful webinar. We actually had a lot of questions. I don't know if you recall, Sarah. We had a lot of questions, a lot of interest.
I do recall.
And some of these interests translated into actual registrations. So we actually have students now that are studying at BCIT from the last webinar. So we wanted to invite you again today for you to do your magic again. Let us know about your institution. Let us know about your programs. I will anticipate you that the people on the call know and are looking forward to hear about postgraduate work permit. They want to know about possible job offering. They want to know about the different faculties or houses that you have or schools that you have in within the institution. So tell us about this, and after this, we'll take some questions together, and we'll take as many questions as we can within the time that we have allowed. Okay?
Yeah, sounds great. Okay.
All right,
so,
all yours.
Yeah, I will go ahead. And Michael, when you have something to say, feel free to chime in if you'd like, okay?
Will do. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
We're
sounds
very
good.
lucky to have two people from BCIT on the same call. This never happened.
2 for 1, exactly. So yeah, welcome to the British Columbia Institute of Technology. Let's get into the agenda. We're going to talk about some quick facts, how BCIT is different than other post-secondary institutions. We'll talk about what happens once you graduate, the different schools at BCIT, how to get in, what we're looking for, some tips, the support we have for international students, and moving forward under COVID-19 situation, and we'll go from there. So BCIT was founded in 1964, and it's one of Canada's largest post-secondary institutions. So we have around 50,000 students enrolled annually, and around 6,500 international students from many countries, and we have over 185,000 graduates. Another thing about BCIT
Sarah,
that is probably, yes?
are you going to share your screen? Because we don't see your screen right now.
Oh, it should have been shared before. Let me quickly do that.
Okay.
Our screen. Okay, I'm so sorry. One
No
moment.
worries. We're just talking about the generalities. So.
Yes, that's true. Well, while I get the screen together, something to know is that BCIT is a public institution, which means that if you study with the diploma, you qualify for the postgraduate work permit for up to 3 years. You still need to apply for it, but because it's a public institution, you are able to apply for it and work up to 3 years afterwards, which is a very, very big deal.
Yeah, and that's very important for a lot of people that are on the call. People are getting to know these benefits of studying in Canada, and yeah, that's a huge one. People are always asking us for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I could add to that, the 3 years is the maximum that you can get, whether you do a 2-year, 3-year, or 4-year program. The postgraduate work permit, the maximum is 3 years. So at BCIT, the 2-year diplomas are really the best value because you get the 3-year postgraduate work permit from just 2 years of study.
Sure. Okay. Okay. So I think we're going to share the presentation because for some reason it's not sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll try opening up again, but let me just, yeah, I think it's best if you have it.
Okay. No worries. Technical difficulties, it happens.
It happens. Let me try one last thing. Let me try one last thing. Okay, share screen, application window. Yeah, it's still not working.
Okay. So Jessica, can you share it, please? Okay, so in the meantime, so BCIT is a huge institution. It's a public institution. It's quite big, 33,000 students?
I believe it's around 48,000.
40,000 students.
48.
Yeah.
48,000 students. Oh my God. Hundreds of programs, different, you call them schools. We could say it's faculties within the same schools. So here it is. These are actual pictures of the actual institution.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Bruno, maybe I'll just comment on that. The reason we call them schools and not faculties is because the schools focus on particular industries, and BCIT is all about industry. We're not a research institution, so our faculty they come from industry, and we have great connections to industry. And so all of our programs are industry focused, and therefore our students get hired by industry. That's why our postgraduate employment rates are so high.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, it's in the 90% of graduation that find work upon graduation. That's great. So this is this is one of the main building in the Burnaby campus.
Yes, exactly. Okay, great. So we'll go to the next slide. And something I can also mention is that I was a BCIT student, so I can just tell you about my journey really quickly. I studied at the University of British Columbia, which is a big university in Vancouver, and I found that once I graduated, it was not really easy for me to get a job. It was actually quite difficult because my degree was an arts degree and it was very theoretical. And so I knew that I needed to learn job training. So I was doing some research, but I always knew that BCIT was the job school. It's where you go to if you want to get a job in Canada and abroad. So I took a quick look and I signed up for BCIT Marketing Communications. And at first I thought it would be maybe simple and easy because I went to UBC, but it was actually quite intensive and really, really thorough. But after all the hard work, I felt way more confident in terms of getting a job, and I was hired before I graduated. So I feel really proud to now represent BCIT and work for the institution because I truly believe that the education it provides its students is amazing and stronger than any other schools I've ever been to or heard of. So I feel really great to talk to you about BCIT today. So let's move on because I already talked about the agenda with the next slide and the next one too. Okay, great. So British Columbia is where BCIT is located. Our main campuses are in Burnaby and Vancouver, and it is really beautiful, mountains, beaches, forests. It's a really, really nice place to live, and it is very natural and very kind of calm, safe city. So I love to live here, and I know that when international students come to BCIT, they really enjoy the outdoors and the nature that British Columbia has. Okay, next slide. So we have the Burnaby campus, which is the main campus. That's where I studied. The downtown campus has some great information tech programs for computer science. We also have an English program called ISEP in the downtown campus. And the photo is the aerospace campus. And that is where we have a lot of our different programs to do with aerospace and airline. And it is really breathtaking. If you're ever in Vancouver, any of you who is watching the webinar, please let Bruno know, and he and I can, and Michael as well, can show you the aerospace campus because it is truly breathtaking. Yeah. Really, really beautiful. The other two campuses are more towards local students. Great. So how is BCIT different than a college or university? I might have touched on it a little bit when I was explaining my personal situation, but some other things about BCIT is that the class sizes are very small. It's a lot more personalized. What's probably the most different about BCIT is that we have a 50-50 model, which is 50% theory. So 50% learning in the classroom, listening to the instructor, but then you are actually practicing what you've learned. So 50% practice. You're actually going to apply what you've learned in real world situations and in projects. We have industry experienced instructors. So you can only be an instructor at BCIT unless you've actually worked in the industry, which is very important. Program advisory committee, which I'll touch on in a sec. And then again, career ready upon graduation because you've essentially trained for the job. So you are ready for a job after you graduate. Great. So BCIT inspires students beyond the classroom. As you can see, this is what a typical classroom looks like. It doesn't look like a big lecture hall where you're sitting and taking notes. You're actually applying what you've learned. And that is a big differentiator of BCIT. Great, so program advisory committee. Now this is very important because oftentimes when you're studying in a college or university, you may be learning things that are maybe not what is currently practiced. But at BCIT, we have a program advisory committee, and that is people in industry. So it could be managers, could be CEOs, could be consultants. And their job for each program at BCIT is to ensure that what is being taught in the curriculum is what actually is being practiced in industry. So it is very, very important, and it ensures that once you graduate from BCIT, the skills you've learned are the skills that are being practiced today.
And that is so, so, so important. I cannot stress enough how important that is in today's world.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Yeah, definitely. And that really speaks to our percentage in terms of job employment rate. So students who've completed the 2-year diploma have a 91% chance of getting a job within the first 3 months. And this is not any kind of job. This is a job in the industry that they've studied. So once you graduate, you are very hireable. Great. And then for our degree, for our 4-year degree, it's a 98% chance of getting a job. So those are really high percentages, and that is because BCIT is very focused on ensuring that once a student graduates, they are very ready for the job market.
That is such an unbelievable percentage.
Yeah, it really is. But I can believe it because I studied there, and it was not always easy. It was really intense. And we already are doing projects for real employers. So it makes sense. There's so much kind of work with employers integrated into the program that you're very ready and you're very confident, which is big.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, great. So also another great thing is that BCIT degree graduates, their median annual income can be up to $70,000. Whereas the median income in Canada is around $30,000. So that's also really good because BCIT students can earn a very high income depending on the program. Yeah. Okay, BCIT's education model. So I've seen Michael talk about this a lot, so I'm going to try. So BCIT's education model is driven by industry. So some universities are all about research, but what drives BCIT is what's being practiced in industry. So with that advisory committee, seeing what's practiced in industry, that is what is informing our education at BCIT. And so this is an applied education. It's not a theoretical education, it's an applied education. So you're really learning skills, which leads to developing skills. And then once you've developed those skills, you're ready to get a job. And that is why we have the high employment rates. So our education model is very straightforward. It's not secret. It's just very, very straightforward. And it's really informed by what is in demand in terms of the job market.
I think it speaks a lot about the synergy between the private sector and the education sector and how they both work together towards preparing the curriculums for the programs. And that's why the students end up finding jobs, because I guess the employers are getting what they're looking for because they're influencing the curriculums of the programs.
Exactly. Yeah. This is our education model. So we call it a laddering system, and that is because at BCIT, you can study for 1 year or 2 years or even 5 years. And what's really nice is you can always work after you've graduated. So let's say you do a 2-year diploma. You work for 2 years, or you do the 2-year diploma, and then you can work in industry afterwards. Let's say that you apply for the postgraduate work permit, you work for 3 years. You can continue your education with BCIT and, go up the ladder, so to speak, and get an advanced diploma or a bachelor's degree. So it's really nice because you don't have to start from the bottom. You can continue your education at BCIT. Great. So we have 6 different schools. The School of Business, that's where I studied. The School of Computing and Academic Studies, Construction and the Environment, Health Sciences, Energy, and Transportation. So we have around 150 plus programs available to international students. And these programs are under one of the schools, but they're all under the big umbrella of BCIT. It's just how we have divided them. Great. Let's go to the next slide because it just kind of says the same thing. So I'm going to touch on some of the programs for the School of Business and Media. We have everything from accounting to human resource management to marketing management. We have 3D modeling, art and animation, a master's in digital media, TV and video production. What's really cool about our Burnaby campus is we are right next to EA Sports, And so a lot of our graduates from BCIT will work for EA Sports because they are looking for animators, people in business, human resources. So what's really nice about BCIT, the downtown campus and the Burnaby campus, is we are surrounded by our own employers. So it's really, really great. And sometimes tours are included in the curriculum. And so the business school, it's my favorite because I went there, but lots of great opportunities there. Okay,
great program. Very great programs and very up-to-date programs as to what the industry needs.
Exactly. Very up-to-date. Yeah. And then we have the School of Computing and Academic Studies. These are where we have our computer programs. One that I always think is really great is the Computer Systems Technology program. Because in your first year, you're learning, your foundation, but in your second year, you can actually choose a focus and you can do app development or data science and artificial intelligence. So for people who are really interested in AI, I get a lot of that at fairs, people wanting to learn about AI. You can do that with the Computer Systems Technology program. We also have full stack web development. And again, if you look at the BCIT webpage, they talk about where students go to after they graduate. And you can see that some students will go to Amazon, will go to EA Sports, will go to Microsoft. So there's tons of great jobs in IT and the salary is really good. Yeah, next slide. Okay, construction in the environment. So we have everything from the architectural and building technology. We have our civil engineering program, ecological restoration, interior design. So there's a lot of programs under the School of Construction and the Environment, and a lot of what, if you're interested in sustainability, the environment, or mining, it's a really great school to look into for programs. And the School of Energy. So we have a lot of our engineering programs under this school. One of the newer ones that we created because there is a demand in jobs is industrial network cybersecurity. And that is because cybersecurity is very prevalent, very in demand. And so this program was developed, I believe, or launched in September of 2019. So it's a really exciting program if you're interested in IT and more of the industrial side of cybersecurity, a really, really great program. Health sciences, so we have biomedical engineering, we have food technology, occupational health and safety. Next slide, please. Thank you. And then we have the School of Transportation. So this is anything to do with aircraft, so aircraft maintenance engineering. This is a great program for international students because sometimes we take international cohorts. So we really walk the students through the process of coming to BCIT as an international student. And, we have a lot of support for that program. So that's a great option. There's also multiple intakes, so you don't have to always wait for September. We have the airport operations, and we also have the car, so automotive service technician and operations and automotive technical studies. So lots of great programs there as well.
Or can I jump in?
Luis Fernando Granado was actually asking specifically for that program, so we already gave him the information. And I'm
amazing.
Sure questions later on in the presentation.
Yeah, so with regards to the aerospace campus, it's the programs are focused on helicopters and airplanes. Yeah. And it's a 2-year diploma that leads directly into very good jobs all over the province, all over Canada, all over the world, really. Can we go back 2 slides? I just wanted to make mention of something. Yeah, right there. So in the School of Health Sciences, this gives a good example of the 2+2 laddering. Earlier, Sarah mentioned the credential laddering that you can go from a diploma to a degree. And a program like biomedical engineering technology or food technology or occupational health and safety, those are the 2-year diplomas that ladder into the other 2-year degrees. So food technology, 2 years, food technology and operations management, that would be the 4-year bachelor. Biomedical engineering technology, then there's the honors in biotechnology, which is a 4-year degree, but that's actually a joint program with the University of British Columbia. So it's really special. Students study 2 years at BCIT, then they do 2 years at UBC. They get the best out of both worlds.
Truly, very good.
Great, thank you, Michael. Okay, so admissions requirements. So how to get in, very important. And again, I also have done a lot of communication with Bruno and class education, so we can help you through this process. Do not worry too much about this. But one thing to note is that most of our programs, they are looking for always for English and often for math. Those are kind of the two things that we're always looking for, but every program does differ. So when you are looking at different programs, what you can do is go to program entry. Can you just click next slide? So you can see right there, program entry. That is always how you get into a program. Great, next slide, please. And entrance requirements. So if you look at the slide, you can see that for food technology, they're looking for English, chemistry, and math, because food technology has a science component. So chemistry would be important. And it says chemistry 11. So we're not looking for university chemistry. We're just looking for high school, or colegio. Is that what they call it in Mexico?
Colegio, yeah.
Colegio. So the kind of chemistry that you've done there would suffice if it's in the last 2 years. Okay, great. Next. So for program entry, this is another important thing to know, is that some programs will have more than one opportunity to apply. And that is because there's more than one start date. So for this program, computer information technology, we have a September start date and a January start date. And the application is open from October 1st to March 1st. So another thing to note is when there is a start date and an end date for a program, it means that the program is competitive entry, which means that you are essentially competing with other international students for a spot. So when a program is competitive, you want to have a very strong application, okay? Great. So for English requirements, we are looking for the following, and this is the baseline, what we're normally looking for. Some programs will ask for a slightly higher mark, or for aircraft maintenance engineering, the mark is not as high. So it depends on the program, but these are often what we're looking for. So we partner up with some ESL partner schools. So we have VGC International College, Kaplan International, and then we also have our own, which is the International Student Entry Program called ISEP. So this is if you want to get into a BCIT program, but your English is not quite there. You can join any of these English options. And then for language, oh, sorry, just one, maybe go back for a little bit more, please. So for language testing, we're looking for an IELTS 6.5, which is the overall score. We also take the TOEFL 86, but we also take other tests as well. So we take the Canadian CALE test, which is around a 70 overall band score. The PTE, we also take Cambridge, even though it's not on the slide. And then right now, because of COVID, we are taking the online Duolingo exam too, and we're looking for around a 115.
Are you taking, we always have that question, until when will you be taking Duolingo? Do you know?
We can't say. Yeah, so we can't say, but you know, we're offering it now. So as of today and probably tomorrow, you're good. But as soon as we stop taking it, we will let our agents know, because we don't want students to be promised something that we can't deliver on. So right. As of now, you can take the Duolingo test.
Take advantage of it, jump on it.
Exactly.
Apply today.
Exactly. So I'm going to give you some application tips. And again, Bruno and class education, they know this, but it is still good as a student to kind of keep this in mind if you are serious about applying to BCIT. Something to note is that as of October 1st, around 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, no, 3, time goes by really fast. Applications for September 2021 is now open. So now is the time. When I gave the presentation 3 months ago, it was really hard to get students in because that was at the end of our recruitment cycle. But right now, everything is available. So now is really the time to apply if you're serious. Or even not even sure, but a little bit serious, because you can make a decision if you want to continue later. but now is the time. So first of all, you want to determine if your program is competitive or first qualified, first accepted. So I touched on the last example of competitive. When there's a start date to an end date of applications, it means that you're competing against other international students. But when it's first qualified, first accepted, that means that it's first come, first serve. So on a program, when we say that we're accepting applications from October 1st with no end date, it means that it's first come, first serve. And again, if this is confusing, you can always ask Bruno and he can ask me and I can easily tell you. So don't worry too much, but just it is good to know because it might change your strategy a little bit. If you're trying to get into a competitive program, you want to have strong academics. You want to get higher than the 115 on Duolingo because that's the minimum. But if it's first come, first serve, it doesn't really matter. As long as you reach those marks, you're in, as long as you apply before all the others. So that's kind of the two different types of application processes we have. So meeting entrance requirements. We are a very, very intensive school. We do not want you to fail. We want you to succeed. And that is why we don't make exceptions when it comes to our entrance requirements. If we say we're accepting a 6.5, we're not accepting a 6. And that is because we want you to excel at BCIT. We don't want it to be too hard for you. So every requirement that we have is with a lot of intention. Applying as early as possible. So many of our programs fill up fast. We have a program, I think Michael was a D3. Yeah, okay, so we have like a really great graphics program, digital design and development, and it's already getting filled up quite quickly. So now really is the time to apply. For some reason, last year, the graphic design animation programs are very, very popular. So if that's interesting to you, like get on that application and apply as soon as possible. Understanding the application process. It takes some time, and again, with the help of class education, you definitely can get the support you need to apply, and we'll help you along the way. We do have an English training program, as I mentioned earlier, called ISEP, and we are making some great changes to that program so students can take it online from the comfort of their home. It's become a lot more personalized and user-friendly, and we also partner up with 2 ESL schools. Students can only apply to one program at a time, and it's good to always have a second choice in mind. So if a program is too full, you can't get in, have another choice, because maybe we will suggest to you a similar program, and oftentimes we'll waive the application fee for that one time when you couldn't get into one program, but you want to get into another. Great. Okay, I'll go quickly about this, but we do have a lot of support for international students. We have the International Student Center, which is a place where you can go to get the support you need if you need a letter of verification, peer mentoring, any questions, you want to talk about PGWP, you want to know if there's any great events, this is the place to go, and they have an amazing team of really supportive people. So it's really good to know that you'll have the support even if you're coming to Canada and you kind of have a home away from home. Great. Moving forward, so COVID-19. So right now, currently, most of our programs are either online or blended. Blended means that there is a mixture of programs that are a little bit online and a little bit in class. We really want to make sure that students are safe. And so, you know, BCIT is open for students who are taking blended programs, but we're taking all the safety precautions to ensure that students are safe, because if you're not safe, then you can't study. So that is the most important. And if you do come to Canada, you need to self-isolate for 14 days. That is, you know, currently the way that you need to make sure that you're safe for yourself and to everybody else. And it is possible to come to Canada to study, but again, it is up to Canada Border Agency, but we can always support that process and give you a letter showing that your program has an in-class component, or we can really support you with that. Okay, great.
And that's the presentation.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, very, very nice, very complete. Thank you very much, Sarah. We have a lot of questions in the comments. I don't know if you've seen some of them while we were listening to the presentation. So I will ask Jessica to put the questions up and we can start looking at them. But before we start, I want to, again, put the emphasis on the kind of relationship that we see in BCIT is this very close relationship with the industries. And that is, I think, is key for having very good programs. And because of having very good programs related to today's needs in the business, that translates into people finding jobs at crazy levels, 98%. I guess if you don't have a pulse graduating, you don't get a job, but that's about it, right? So everybody gets a job coming out of this institution, and that is just amazing. So again, I think for me, that's my takeaway here is you want to work, get a good education, and BCIT has that. Also, the fact that you have the different schools, each schools have their own relationship with the industry related to that school, and that makes it even a closer relationship. So, okay, so now we're taking applications for September 2021, but also for May and January 21, correct?
Yeah,
correct.
You still have room for January and May 21 in most programs, or what's the status on that?
In January, there's only a handful of programs that have start dates, like computer systems technology, computer information technology,
okay.
and those are competitive programs, and the deadline to apply has already passed. We also have electrical computer engineering technology, and I'm sure that one is already full with a long wait list. So really January is pretty much done now, Bruno.
Okay.
Aircraft maintenance engineering, we have an intake in March, I believe. So that you can still apply to, okay. But otherwise you're really looking at September.
Okay. All right. So again, the emphasis, you put a lot of emphasis on that, Sarah, and work with anticipation. Canada was already receiving the world before COVID, and now the world's been waiting on Canada because our border was closed until 2 days ago, and I think because of the way we're going through this COVID pandemic, even more people nowadays are looking at going to Canada for their education and even for to work and to immigrate eventually, and so education is the path to do that, and BCIT is right in that path. And so I think it's fair to say that you need to work with anticipation. Please get in touch with us. You have our contact information below this. We can make another semi-webinar with Sarah, someone from class, and you. If you have any specific questions, we can do that. We have an open communication. We work very transparently with our institutions. So, but like I said, like Sarah said, even if you're not sure, do apply. Reserve your seat, and then you'll have maybe a couple of weeks or months to decide. But at least you keep those options open for you. Okay, let's take a few questions. If you want to start with some of the questions on the screen. Lygia, are all BCIT programs eligible for postgraduate work permit? Yes, they are, unless I'm mistaken. They all are, right?
Yes.
Unless they're under 8 months.
Correct. So
there's a program in graphic design that's only 6 months, so that wouldn't be eligible, but that's one of the few.
So that's 1 out of 150 programs or something,
yeah.
Right? All right.
Yeah.
Now, again, just to be sure, if you go into a 1-year program or 8 months, which is considered 1 academic year, you get the postgraduate work permit for 1 year. If you go to a 2-year program or a 3-year advanced diploma or 2-year postgraduate program or a bachelor of 4 years, automatically you get the 3-year postgraduate work permit upon graduation. You need to apply for it, but the school will also show you tricks, show you how to do that. It's part of their process. They will show you how to do that, and it's automatically. So it's eligible for everyone. Also, I think we didn't touch upon, if someone on the line is going with their sweet half or their parejas, as we say in Spanish, while you're studying, you can work part-time, and you can work full-time if you have a study break in the summer, whatever, and upon graduation, you get 3-year work permit. At the same time, when you start your program, your how do you say it in English?
Spouse.
Your spouse can work full-time from day one. And even when you go into your 3-year postgraduate work permit, your spouse can also work full-time for these 3 years as well. And if that was enough, if you have children, they can also go to school for free within the Canadian public system until they're up to grade 12. You know? So that's really, the government has made it in a way that it's really possible for you to sustain yourself while you're studying here for your future. Okay?
I've noticed a question, does the PGWP apply to part-time programs? It does. However, you cannot apply to a part-time program from overseas. There are restrictions on that. So you have to be in Canada to study part-time.
Right. And I think the minimum is 3 courses per semester, correct? For be considered
three courses, 9 credits. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Purple Sky. Ofrecen becas para la Universidad de Burnaby. Do you offer bursaries at the institution from the first year?
No, we don't. We do offer academic rewards for students who are top of their class. It's a small amount of money. It's not going to cover your tuition, but it is something, but nothing up front.
Okay, very good. I like to say always that the bursary program in Canada is, first, the cost of the programs, which is relatively low if you compare it on a world scale, and also the employability, the fact that you can work while you're studying, you can go work full-time upon graduation, and with this 98% graduation employment rate upon graduation, that in itself is a bursary to me. But anyway, we have Paulina Malagon, who's our testimony for today. She's a student at BCIT. I don't know if she's there. Paulina, if you can put on your camera. Hi, Paulina. We can't hear you. You're on mute.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Hi, nice to meet you guys.
Paulina, you sound Latin.
I am Mexican, actually.
Very good. All right. Do you mind speaking in Spanish?
Por mí no hay problema. Inglés,
just so we get the message through. I'm sure Michael and Sarah have an idea what you're going to say anyway. Díganos, Paulina, en 30 segundos, ¿de dónde eres? ¿Qué estás estudiando en BCIT o qué estudiaste? ¿Cuál es tu historia un poquito?
Voy a tratar de resumirlo un poquito. Yo estoy estudiando el certificado en Interior Design. Okay. Voy a la mitad del primer año. Se tiene que partir en, me parece que son 3 etapas en lo que hay que partirlo. Voy en la primera parte. Okay. Tengo 28 años y yo me gradué de arquitectura hace 5. Entonces, esta es mi especialidad, por así decirlo.
Ok, entonces estás haciendo un programa de 1 año o 8 meses.
Sí, de 1 año 8 meses.
Ok, ¿y dónde estudiaste en México?
En La Salle.
Ok, muy bien. ¿Y llegaste entonces en septiembre o cuándo llegaste?
Mi historia está un poco complicada. Yo llegué en enero. Yo, de hecho, empecé en una universidad privada y le comentaba a Sara que yo me cambié porque sentí que era muy ligera la escuela. Okay. Sentía que no tenía el nivel de exigencia que pues yo sé que existe en el rubro. Y me recomendaron muchísimo irme a BCIT por, obviamente, pues todo lo posterior a graduarse, ¿no? Toda la oferta de trabajo y por la calidad de escuela que era. Fueron muy amables, muy amables. Me ayudaron muchísimo con la transición. Yo estoy sola aquí en Canadá. Mi familia, desafortunadamente, no está acá. Y me ayudaron hasta con cosas que yo ni siquiera sabía que necesitaba. Me ayudaron incluso hasta encontrar una casa y yo, de hecho, vivo 2 cuadras atrás de BCIT.
Wow. Y hablando del tema que tu carrera anterior la sentías muy ligera, ahora que estás en BCIT, ¿sientes que sí estás aprendiendo de cosas de veras?
Sí. Incluso yo tengo la carrera en arquitectura y arquitectura es una carrera muy pesada, son 5 años pesadísimos. Yo pensé que se me iba a hacer muy sencilla la escuela aquí porque ya traes un background, ¿no? No fue ni remotamente sencillo, es aprender otro idioma completamente, es acostumbrarse a cosas muy diferentes y es un estándar espectacularmente alto el que tiene Canadá en general. En la cuestión de construcción es un estándar altísimo. Hay que aprender muchísima reglamentación, hay que tener una calidad brutal. y hay que poner una cantidad de atención fenomenal a cada cosa que sucede. Y bueno, por eso tenemos la calidad que tenemos de este lado, ¿no?
Muy bien. Y háblanos un poco de las instalaciones y de lo que tienes a tu alcance para tus estudios ahí en BCIT.
Desafortunadamente por COVID hemos tenido que reducir un poquito el uso. Yo vivo muy cerca del campus, entonces a veces voy a correr, a veces voy a simplemente estudiar ahí un poco. Pero las instalaciones, los talleres en especial, los talleres de carpintería, de mecánica, de aeronáutica, etcétera, los talleres que tienen como tal son espectaculares, son gigantescos. La escuela es muy bonita, está en una zona que a mí me encanta. Ya llevo casi un año viviendo en Burnaby y es precioso. Es muy abierto el campus y tiene, sobre todo la biblioteca central, tiene absolutamente cualquier cosa que vayas a necesitar. Y algo que también que nos han apoyado muchísimo, sobre todo del bookstore, es hacer los bundles de todo lo que necesitas. Y, por ejemplo, como yo que estás en diseño, necesitas pinceles, pinturas, madera, necesitas muchos materiales. En el bookstore te crean todo ese bundle y nada más lo tienes que recoger o te lo mandan a tu casa. Vaya, hay una cantidad infinita de herramientas por parte de la escuela.
Muy bien. Estilo de vida en Burnaby, Vancouver. Burnaby es la zona justo afuera de Vancouver, pero es lo mismo que Vancouver. ¿Qué tal tu estilo de vida aquí?
A mí tuve la oportunidad de vivir en Vancouver un tiempo. No me regreso a downtown o a Vancouver ni de broma, porque Burnaby es como entre un suburbio pero tiene todo lo necesario, ¿no? Bueno, yo cerca de mi casa tengo el bus stop a una esquina, está caminando a 2 segundos. Tengo cafeterías, tengo mercados, tengo gimnasios, cultura, todo lo que se necesite. En el área está muy... Es bastante extensa. Burnaby es gigante, entonces hay como 4 partes de Burnaby. Nosotros estamos en North Burnaby y es muy cercano pues incluso si les gusta hacer hiking o les gusta hacer kayak, ir a los lagos, la vida de bici está muy cerca de todas las cosas que hay que hacer dentro de Vancouver. Y es una zona muy bonita, muy tranquila, no hay nada de inseguridad, afortunadamente. Y muy callada, ¿no? Hay mucho silencio, se puede dormir muy bien de noche, no hay tanto problema como en downtown, entonces súper recomendado.
Es más económico que downtown, ¿no?
Mucho más económico que downtown y acá es más bien casas, en downtown son más bien departamentos. Yo soy muy, muy, muy de casa, a mí me gustan los espacios grandes y tener sala y una cocina gigante y afortunadamente todas las casas en las que he vivido en Burnaby han sido... casas como tal y con espacios muy, muy grandes y la mitad de la renta de Vancouver.
Muy bien, muy bien. Ok. Oye, y ahora entonces ya te vas a graduar, ¿cuándo? ¿En mayo?
Me parece que en mayo, sí.
¿Cuáles son tus planes?
Pues yo de hecho ya estoy trabajando en la industria. Recién hace una semana me contrataron en una empresa que se dedica a hacer cocinas, entonces estoy como interior designer y kitchen designer. Una de las grandes cartas que me apoyó en que me dieran el trabajo, a pesar de que es part-time, fue el inglés y segundo, BCIT. Conocen muy bien la calidad y fueron de las cosas que más me mencionaron en la entrevista, que saben que podemos aguantar un paso pesado. Es muy pesado el trabajo, entonces vale mucho la pena seguir estudiando y me siguen apoyando en que yo termine mi certificado.
Entonces, y cuando terminas, ¿qué vas a hacer?
Probablemente me quede trabajando con ellos un tiempo. Es una empresa bastante renombrada por acá en cuestión cocinas e interiorismo. Y probablemente, depende de los tiempos, lo extienda para hacer el diploma. Todavía no lo sé. Depende de cómo juegue el tiempo por acá.
Yo apuesto que sí.
Esperemos que sí.
Muy bien. Oye, Paulina, Cuéntanos, en la llamada hoy hay no sé cuántas personas, unos 100 personas que están escuchando. Muchos de esos están en tus zapatos donde estabas tú el año pasado, con este gusano, con este plan, con este proyecto, sin saber muy bien si lanzarte o no lanzarte. Tú ya te habías graduado, eres una profesional en México. ¿Qué les dices a esta gente hoy que están pensando qué hacer, están, pues como todos, sufriendo en el COVID y pensando cómo prepararse para el futuro? ¿Qué les puedes decir?
Yo les puedo decir, especialmente si están en México, yo ejercí muchos años en México y la cantidad más bien los retos que se me han presentado aquí a cuestión profesional, a comparación de los que tuve en México, son mucho mayores y más enriquecedores. He crecido muchísimo como profesionista. Las clases, yo pensé que no me iban a aportar mucho porque ya tenía un título, porque dije, bueno, pues ya también llevo muchos años haciendo esto, y fue todo lo contrario. He aprendido cosas que ni por aquí me pasaban, y insisto, los estándares se me levantaron muchísimo. Yo no sabía la cantidad de cosas que necesitan saber aquí para poder ejercer, lo cual como profesionista pues es invaluable, ¿no? Y lo segundo, la calidad de vida es completamente diferente. Aquí trabajas tus horas, te pagan por tus horas. Si haces overtime, que es muy seguido, te pagan tu overtime. Te respetan muchísimo como profesionista porque saben todo lo que tienes que pasar, saben todo lo que tienes que estudiar para llegar al punto de cobrar por hacer las cosas, y todo funciona como reloj, ¿no? Yo creo que para mí, que soy muy, muy adicta a mi carrera y que me encanta lo que hago, ha sido muy, muy enriquecedor el crecer como profesionista, y bueno, la calidad de vida ni con qué comparar.
Muy bien, muy bien. Pues suenas que estás convencida que te vas a quedar, pero bueno, veremos en un año. Muy bien, pues Paulina, muchísimas son las preguntas que te tenía. No sé si hay algunas preguntas que llegaron para ti en este caso. Sarah and Michael, do you guys have any questions? I wanted to cover this in Spanish because I think it was important. But do you have any questions for Paulina?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for making the time to talk about your experience. We really appreciate that.
No, my pleasure. I'm very, very happy to be able to share this.
It's always so nice to have a testimonial from the school that's there right now that can, vouch for everything that we're saying, but you're living it. You're using the institution, and now because of the institution, you're working. It's huge. It's huge. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Paulina.
Yeah, come to BCIT. It is amazing, actually.
Aww. Thank you.
Yeah. You could get a job at BCIT if you don't find something in the architecture world. You can get a job at BCIT.
Now I can get a job in BCIT. That's good.
But you have a job, right? You just started working?
Yeah, I just got a job 1 week ago. Yeah.
Amazing. That's so exciting. Yeah. And
this job in the industry, which is very, very important, and it's a great milestone for me.
I'm so happy for you. That's great.
Oh, thank you.
Congrats.
Okay, so what other questions do we have now from the audience? You're welcome to stay with us, Paulina. I know you're probably a very busy woman right now because of your job and your schooling, but you're welcome to stay. And if you need to go, no problem at all. We understand.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep on watching the webinar. Maybe I'm gonna log out, but I'm gonna keep on watching.
Okay, thank
you very much.
Okay, now we have Ana who's saying, ¿qué requisitos necesitan para que what are the requirements for the school to accept you? Well, that varies greatly on the program, obviously, and I think we went through this in the presentation. You can go back in the presentation. You'll get this recording, and it will be on our social networks as well. You can see it. All the requirements are there. And also, Sarah talked about how you can find it on the website as well, right?
Yeah.
And through class education as well, Ana, siempre te puedes acercar a nosotros para ir viendo cualquier programa y te vamos diciendo, espacio, requisitos, costos, todo eso. Okay? ¿Cuánto cuesta? What's the price?
Yeah, every program is a little bit different, but each year is around $20,000 Canadian. So our 2-year diploma would be just over $40,000 Canadian.
And an important question, people always talk about price. So the approx price for most of the program is about $20,000 Canadian per year, per school year. That's September to December, January to April. You can pay this by semester as well, or by year if you want, but you can pay by semester. And as we commented earlier, the moment you get here, while you're in the school, you can also work part-time. With your part-time work, usually it's enough, or almost enough, to pay for your immediate costs, which is housing, food, and transportation.
Mm-hmm.
Los costos que aparecen por programa incluyen el seguro de gasto. Okay. The cost include the health insurance?
No, it does not. So that is something that students do need to purchase. But we do, like, students do that through the International Student Center, and it's a great rate. It's a company that they have been working for and know and trust. So it'll be communicated to students once they get into the program. It will not come as a surprise.
Okay. Can the students, for example, we sell in Mexico an insurance for international students in Canada, or is GuardMe as well in Canada? Can we use that, or is it the government insurance?
We use GuardMe.
Okay.
We don't recommend that students use alternative insurance, because we've seen students who were not covered adequately. And if you have an accident in Canada and you don't have adequate coverage, it could be a problem.
Yeah.
But Bruno, after 3 months, they are eligible to apply for the MSP, the
government
the
insurance
Canadian
program.
medical insurance.
Yeah. It's only for 3 months that they have to pay. After that, it's included. It's not included in the. Well, it is included as a benefit, but it's not in the cost of tuitions.
No, it's not.
Okay, very good. Do you have dormitories?
Yes, we do. We have a residence. And actually what's really great is they're expanding. So they're going to be building more rooms, which is really, really exciting. Students do need to apply for residence, but it is an option. We also have homestays too that we can help the students get into. And a homestay is with living with a Canadian family. You get 2 meals a day, and it's a really great way. 3 meals a day. Sorry, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it's a great way to, assimilate into Canadian culture and meet a real family in Canada that lives nearby BCIT.
Do you have the cost of your dorms?
I can tell you the approximate amount is around $700 per month, Canadian. It does not include food, but it has a kitchen, so a lot of students will go together to get groceries, and they'll make dinner together, and it's a really, really nice place. I used to live in the dorm, so I know.
Nice. Okay. Okay. What other questions do we have? If I take two diploma in the same school of business, I'm just doing instant translation here. Do I get a document? Okay. If I take 2 diploma, do I get a diploma for a bachelor, or I get 2 diplomas?
I'll tell you how it works. So you take the diploma, let's say it's in finance, so a 2-year finance diploma, and then you graduate with a diploma. If you want, you can do 1 more year and get a degree in business administration. So a lot of people will do that. If they don't have a degree, they want to get a degree. And the nice thing about that is it's only 3 years. It's not 4 years.
Oh, 3 years instead of 4. Okay.
Yeah. So with the business school, you can do a diploma and then do 1 more year, and then it's called the BBA program. So you get the bachelor's in business administration.
Okay. Very good. I would appreciate the questions in English. ¿Cuántos tienen ingreso para el programa de how much space do you have in the cyber networks cyber security program?
I'm not quite sure. Michael, do you know how much space, how many seats in the INCS program?
I'm sorry, in which program?
Industrial Network Cyber.
I believe they have, well, with COVID, they reduced the class size. So I think they were down to 12 students per class, and they had 2 classes. But normally they would have 20 students per class.
2 classes again. Okay.
Yes.
So that program is booked for January, and it only starts in September? Next program is in September. Okay. And you have room in September. As of now, you have room.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That, I imagine this is a good program to go into right now and in the future, right?
It's actually a very new program. It's only a couple of years old, and it was developed because government and industry.
Cutting out a little bit there.
Cutting out, yeah. Michael's cutting out there, but I think he was saying that he was saying that the program was developed because there's such a great demand in industry for the industrial network cybersecurity. So it was created because there's demand in jobs. So therefore, it's a really, really strong program. So apply now. It's a really great program.
Okay, very good. BCIT, is it okay? Some people are always asking, is it a university or a college, right? So it's a hybrid.
It's kind of like a hybrid. It's a polytechnic. So it is kind of like a university because we do issue bachelor's degrees and masters, but it is a polytechnic. So it's a technical institution. So it's kind of like a hybrid.
Okay. We talked about English requirements earlier. And we know you work with VGC, which is a local language school. Can someone, and I think the answer is yes, but can someone take the VGC pathway program right now online in order to come to BCIT, let's say, next September?
They need a certain level to get into BCIT. So as long as they reach that level, then they can get in. They can transition.
Okay, so that's a good solution. Someone who wants to come in September but doesn't currently have the English level or is close but doesn't have it yet, you could start with VGC next Monday, and take the VGC pathway, which is an automatic transfer into BCIT as the requirement. And that way you would actually save money, because while you're studying English in Canada, you cannot work while you're studying English only. You can only work while you're in a post-secondary institution like BCIT. So if you do that, you could even do 3, 4, 5, 6 months of English online with VGC. And once you reach that level that BCIT requires, then you could have the access. Now, Michael, a question for you there. Can someone someone doesn't have, let's say they have an IELTS 5 or 5.5, can they take the VGC pathway and apply with you at the same time, just so they reserve the spot, even though they don't have the English requirement, and get a conditional letter of apply?
Losing you. Sorry, Bruno, I'm not hearing the question.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I believe that you cannot, but let me double check. Yeah, I do not believe you can do that.
Can
but
you repeat
you
the question?
that, okay.
The question is, can you apply at BCIT while studying online at VGC for the pathway and get a conditional letter of acceptance?
No, you cannot.
Okay.
Actually, at BCIT, even if you're, you can't get conditional acceptance to BCIT. You have to meet all of the requirements.
Okay. So you need to get the English done first, and then you apply later. Okay.
Yeah. The benefit of attending the English program at BCIT is when you reach level 400, if there's a seat in the follow-up program that you want, we will reserve a seat for you.
Okay.
So let's say you're in 400 in January and you're trying to get into business, international business management, and there are still seats at that point, then we can reserve a seat for you if you're in the ISET program.
Okay, which is your own English program. Okay.
Correct, yeah.
Very good. We have Luis Fernando. Do you accept Duolingo test for admission to your program? The answer is yes, right?
Yeah. 115.
Level is 115, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Scores are 115. There's a follow-up question on the cyber security program. average, if we know, average income for graduate students in that program?
Ooh, cybersecurity, I don't know if we have. My advice is to look on Indeed for Canada and see what the going rate is. And that would be a good way to kind of find out if it's a good program for you economically. We normally do statistics after students graduate, but because the program is new, I believe we don't have our first graduating class quite yet.
Okay, because it's a new program still, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Another question. Okay, there we go. Dami, does the aerospace program is the only about aviation, or is there a way I can focus on space industry?
I believe it's only about aviation, but what I would recommend is that, you know, if you want to check this out, every program, we're very open and we show you all the courses you would take. So you can take a look at every specific course and see if it's something that would interest you.
Okay. Very good.
And the aircraft maintenance engineering program, you can go from there to another university to complete a bachelor in aeronautical science. But our program is really hands-on aircraft maintenance, either the avionics section or the regular, gas turbines and rotary reciprocating engines on aircraft. It's for helicopters and airplanes.
Okay. We have another question. Do you have a graduate program? Yes, you do. You have several.
Yes, we do. Yeah, just something to add to that though is that even though our diplomas are not called like a master's, it's still mostly attended by students who already have a degree. So for myself, I had a bachelor's at UBC. I still chose to study the diploma because I knew that with my bachelor's, paired with my diploma from BCIT, I'd have the education to show that I could apply for a more senior level job with the diploma, which is like the job training. So it's a really, really great program if you already have a bachelor's because you already have that theory. Now it's time to learn the practice. So, but we also do have some master's programs as well.
Okay, very good. We're coming into an hour and 15 minutes. I want to talk before we get further into the presentation. I want to talk about financing options. That's something that a lot of people have asked us for. In this COVID time, so much uncertainties. We don't know where our industries are going or where our economy is going, rather. And so at class, we've come up with different options for financing for our students. I'll do that part in Spanish so everyone to understand, okay? Entonces, hay mucha gente que nos ha preguntado sobre opciones de financiamiento y hemos hablado con aliados en México que nos ofrecieron programas de financiamientos muy interesantes. Son empresas mexicanas que ofrecen financiamientos en pesos para nuestros clientes. El préstamo se hace en dólares canadienses a la institución, pero la deuda se queda en pesos mexicanos por lo largo del financiamiento. Son financiamiento de 6 meses hasta 5 años, como lo desean ustedes, es a su decir. Y aquí en la pantalla les tengo unos ejemplos rápidos de lo que puede significar eso, ¿no? Son montos aleatorios que pusimos. Si fuera un financiamiento de 175,000 pesos, el repago de este financiamiento a 24 meses sería más o menos 9,737 pesos mensual. Y si fuera a 36 meses, perdón, o sea, un plazo más largo, el pago mensual baja a 7,340 pesos. Esos son ejemplos nada más, pero les da la capacidad de ver que si tienen el sueño de hacer este programa, ven que van a conseguir trabajo al graduarse, ven que sí se puede hacer ese tipo de programa, anímense a entrar en contacto con esos profesionales. Ofrecen también mensualidades escalonadas donde uno puede pagar menos, por ejemplo, por los primeros 2 años mientras está estudiando y hacer pagos más fuertes a la deuda en los últimos 3 años del préstamo, que es cuando uno ya tiene trabajo. Ya vimos que el 98% de los graduados tienen trabajo al graduarse. Entonces, este formato es una forma también de hacerlo posible, el repago de la deuda. Si les interesa, les invito a contactarse con un agente de Class Education. Les ponemos en contacto con las instituciones, les hacen un examen socioeconómico de 5 o 10 minutos y allá mismo le dicen si son sujetos a un préstamo y por qué monto. Y en base a allá, pues, juntos con ellos deciden si es a 24 meses, a 36 meses o hasta 5 años a 60 meses y valoran la opción o no. Creo que es una manera más de hacer que estos programas puedan ser viables. Y entonces nada más pídenos si los podemos poner en contacto con ellos. Okay? Okay, very good. Okay, so we talked about applying early because it's filling up quickly and the spaces are limited. Tell us about, we know that this Wednesday, on the 20th, on Tuesday, Canada reopened its doors to international students. So BCIT is on the DLI list, which is Designated Learning Institution list of the province of British Columbia. But now there's a new list called the DLI COVID Secure list, I think, right? I think that's something like that. And you're also on that list. That means you are an institution that is good to go. You're ready to start receiving international students. That's a very good thing. This semester, all studies are online. In January, will it all be online as well?
So just one correction is right now, not all our programs are fully online. We have online programs and blended. So some programs actually do have an in-class component.
Okay, good. Thank you for this clarification. And now in January, will it be the same?
Yeah, I believe it'll be the same. Yeah, so online and blended.
Okay, now we know that the government of Canada announced about 4 months ago that students that started programs online could do up to 50% of their programs online, while the rest would be presential, and they could still have access to their postgraduate work permit.
Yes.
What if someone starts, well, now it's getting hard to start in January at BCIT, could be if they start in September 2021, we don't know yet if this will continue to apply, right?
Exactly. It's based on what's going on in the atmosphere, in the world, yeah. But we will adjust accordingly. Okay, very good. Okay, now, and I think I don't know if there's any more questions, but I think this is one that I got that I received earlier. Tell us a little bit more about the advisory committee. This is something that's unique to BCIT. That's something that works really well for you and for graduate students and for the industry. So tell us quickly about this, please. Sure. Michael, do you want to add something? Yeah.
Sure. So yeah, the advisory committees, in my opinion, are one of the reasons that BCIT is so well connected to industry. We will invite members from companies all around Vancouver to sit on an advisory committee for each program at BCIT. So there'll be people from, managers to vice presidents from different companies. Sometimes they're from different universities, and they'll sit on our advisory committee to advise our faculty on what is happening in that industry, what's changing, what new technologies are coming, what kind of skills do they need their employees to have. And our faculty will modify their curriculum to adapt to the needs of industry according to what those advisory committees tell us. So again, for me, it's one of the key factors. Yes, our faculty all come with industry experience, but if they've been teaching for us for 10 years, that experience gets further and further away. So the only real way for us to stay really closely connected to industry is through the advisory committees, and that's why they're so important to us.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think it should be a must for all schools. But anyway, good on you for that, because I think it really brings an advantage to the institution and to its graduate students. Very good. All right. Well, I think we'll call it the night because it's already 6:25 in Vancouver. It's 8:25 in Mexico. I'll give you a few seconds and minutes to if you have anything else you want to add, Michael and Sarah, and then I'll say a few last words and we'll finish the webinar.
Maybe I'll start, Sarah. I'll just say a couple of words that, again, BCIT is not a research university. where we provide intensive training. So it's not an easy school to graduate from. You have to work hard. In a 2-year program, on average, you'll do about 120 credits, which is similar to what you would do in 4 years in a university. So it's very intensive. And again, that's why when you graduate, you have so much of the skills and the work ethic that industry wants. And that's why they hire you. They know what BCIT graduates are capable of, and what they've been through and how mature they are when they graduate. And again, that's why 98% of our students are employed after they graduate from our programs. If that's what you're looking for, BCIT is really the place to go.
I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. And like Paulina said, that's why she got hired where she got hired, because of BCIT. And I think it goes a long way. Very good.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think what Michael said kind of says it all. It was my experience too. It was hard work for me, but the work paid off. And when I finished BCIT, I was right away into my first job in marketing communications. And I feel so lucky to represent an institution where I really stand strong behind the product, which is a really good education. So yeah, that's why I'm here today.
No, I think it's wonderful that you have someone that's studied the program, that lived the experience, and that's able to talk about it today. So congratulations on that to you, Sarah. Thank you very much, Michael and Sarah, for this very informative webinar. I think a lot of people had lots of questions. I'm sure we'll have other questions afterwards. The team class is still online answering questions as we speak. Anyone interested, please leave us your information in whichever platform you're at right now. You can also take our information at the bottom of the screen, so you can be in touch with us. We'd be happy to be part of that. Part of the solution for you to make your application at BCIT. We'd be happy if you have further questions to do another webinar, and I'll take advantage of Sarah's time here. And if you want to talk with us, including with Sarah, have specific questions, we will make time for you to make another webinar like this, a one-on-one, a petit comité webinar, and the idea is to answer your questions and to get you moving forward into your registration at BCIT. So thank you very much, both of you, for your time today. Thank you also for the class team for putting this together and to be simultaneously on different platforms live. That was great. And of course, we'll start answering other questions you may have over the next few days. Like Sarah said, don't waste time. Book in advance. Reserve a seat. Start the application process, because it's a process. It takes time. It's not done right away. But we'd be happy to be assisting you in that process. And again, if there's anything else you need, please leave us your information, and we'll get in touch with us, and we'll be happy to answer you. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening. And
thank you, Bruno, and thank you to the class team. Great organization. We're really glad to be working with you, Bruno. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bruno, and thank you, everybody. Jessica, thank you so much.
Likewise. Take care, you guys. Have a good night. Thank you.
Ciao.